if you guys hadn't written it, holy mackerel, I don't know. That's
Well, that's part of the wonder of this form of art, songs. You can go and look at a painting in a museum, and it's right there in front of you. Um, but when you're listening to a song, in a way, you're participating in the creative process while you're listening to it.
right.
Everybody makes their own thing of the song,
Yeah.
and a good song is clear in certain ways, but also there's room in there for people to put their own lives into it and their own experience into it and interpret it based on their own feelings and what they've been through. So I think that's one of the really beautiful things about songwriting is that it's a collaboration between you and the listener.
That is. It very much is. I had a couple of tunes here recently, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I had some songs that I didn't really think was much of anything. But have you ever run into songs that you thought weren't maybe up to par or finished in your opinion, but other folks really took to and took as their own?
Well, it's funny, when I wrote the song "The Kid,"
Wow.
I knew it meant a lot to me, but I wasn't sure, how well it would connect with other people. And I remember I was in this sort of every other Sunday, me and a bunch of pals who also wrote songs would get together in Chicago and just play our new stuff for each other. And I remember playing that for the gang, and they liked it okay, but I didn't think, okay, this is the best thing I've ever written.
Yeah.
But as I started to play it out, inevitably that would be the song that somebody in the audience would come up to me after the show and talk to about.
Wow.
It's like, were you reading my letters or something? How did you write that? That's my story there.
Yeah.
And I said, kind of, even though I'd been writing it for myself, I'd kind of tapped into something that a lot of people could relate to.
Yeah.
And there's the song. It starts out like a typical guy falls in love with girl leaves guy kind of song, and usually those end with and then guy just decides his life means nothing now. He can't go on without her. That's the typical ending for songs like that.
Yeah.
But in mine, I was trying to be a little more. Well, I was trying to make myself feel better, really. And
sure.
I was talking about the dream versus reality, and how the reality sometimes can step on that dream pretty hard. But my narrator in the song anyway is like, well, got to take that part too, but I still would rather be the guy with dreams.
That's right.
And so it ends on a hopeful note
in
some ways. And I think that really made a difference to people too, that they could buck up a little bit here and that. It's like, okay, it doesn't always work out. I get that, but still important to keep dreaming.
It absolutely is. And you touched on something about how the meanings, those meanings translate differently for folks, and how that you thought are you reading my letters? I've talked to several folks who are like, I felt really terrible until I listened to this album, or until I listened to this song over and over. And for some reason and in some way, it made them feel less alone. It made them feel better about their situation. I look at songwriting a lot as a form of free therapy for me in a lot of ways, to kind of get my emotions out on paper and just kind of share it. And maybe in a way that might not be understood to other people, but I know exactly what I meant. They could take it as they wish. But do you possibly use that in that way?
Oh, sure. Yeah. For sure. I tell this joke on stage sometimes about how many thousands of dollars in therapy songwriting has saved me.
Exactly.
But interestingly enough, along those lines, I've recently, in the last couple of years, been working with a guy Mac Bailey, who has a organization called Music Therapy, the Rockies, and
Yeah.
he works with veterans that have PTSD.
I love that.
And his deal is to put the veterans together with songwriters and to let them collaborate on their story, basically. And he finds a real value for them, um, based on talking to them afterwards and their own experience with it. That just somehow being able to take this mess of feelings and events and to kind of put them into a narrative form of some sort, or
Yeah.
to condense it into this, you know, sort of organized thing, which a song is, of course,
Sure.
really seems to have some benefits for them. And for me, it's just been an amazing experience, because one, these guys have been really forthcoming in their in telling me their stories, just really honestly about
Yeah.
everything they've gone through. It's all pretty for sure. Um, and some of it was pretty awful for them.
Yeah.
But they really just dived in all the way, and I've
Wow.
really been honored to be able to be a part of that. They trusted me with that story, and
Sure.
then to be a part of trying to turn it into music and art.